Hey, what's up guys and gals? My name is Ricknineg. Thank you so much for joining me today. We're going to be looking at another movie, and of course I'm going to be doing another movie review. So thank you again for joining me today, new subscribers as well as those who've been with me for a long time. The movie is going to be the 2017 film Murder on the Orient Express. Now, if you're big into literature, you might know, I believe, that this was a novel as well, and so this is not just a film that they created for the sake of making a film. It was previously a novel, and so, it is tricky to make a book into a movie. Of course, we all know the saying that the movie's never as good as the book, and so forth. And I didn't read the book, but I would imagine that the movie is not as good as the book, because the book was pretty much a hit when it came out. I won't go into the details of the book or the novel, because obviously this is a movie review, but I did want to point that out. This movie was also made prior, so this is a remake and a newer version of it with, of course, new actors and so forth. But I believe the storyline and the main idea is still the same. Now, the visuals is pretty much the best thing in the film. You will see long shots, of course, the Orient Express, the train, beautifully into the background. Of course, some of that is CGI. However, there's a lot in the film that's not CGI, or in other words, computer graphic imagery, which is gorgeous. The costumes, so detailed. You have a big range of characters, which I'll get to in just a little bit. But let me get to the summary, because I already touched on how great the visuals are. I go more into that. The summary of the film is that we have a detective. Now, one of the issues that I've had, and I gotta point it out now, is the main character, the detective. There was just something about him that I couldn't connect with him as a person, an individual. I couldn't care about him, to be honest with you. I wanted to, but I couldn't. I don't know if that was writing or that was the actor or whatever it would be, but it honestly, if you would ask me what the main character's name is, I don't know, because there was just no connection that I had with the character. There was no interest in that. But anyway, he is, according to the film, the world's greatest detective, and we see him in the beginning solve one of these crazy crimes, and that was pretty interesting, of course. One of the other things I love, again, going back to the visuals, we start at the Wailing Wall in Jerusalem. Of course, not really the Wailing Wall. You see a good amount of CGI, but everything else was really rich. I felt like the movie was like in super high def, and I could see like the dust in the air. I could hear the animals in the background. Like, that was very rich. I was very fulfilled in that way. Now that is an important part of filmmaking, but it's not everything. The story is important, the dynamics, how the characters relate to one another, and to you as an audience. You need to be drawn into the movie, in my opinion, and I wasn't really drawn in. I wanted to, I was asking for it, and that was one of the big frustrations that I had with this film. Now, immediately I started to see actors and actresses that I knew. Daisy Ridley, of course, she plays Rey in Star Wars, and that was pretty cool because, of course, in that she plays like a heroine, and then this one she plays a different type of more feminine character, and she has a different personality. You will have a couple surprises, like Johnny Depp is in this movie. He doesn't play a Johnny Depp-like character. He's like totally different. His tone, the timbre of his voice is different. The way he walks, like, this made me realize, wow, he's a good actor. However, I'll just leave it at that, because there's, of course, it's the Murder on the Orient Express. Who did it, right? The who did it story, and I won't spoil it, of course, but you have to watch it if you're interested. The whole thing is a bit of a twist, let me just say. I know I'm going back and forth, but I really want to hit that home, that the strengths in this film are the visuals and pretty much the actors. Let me sum it up to that. Michelle Pfeiffer's in this film, Willem Dafoe is in this film, Judi Dench is in the film, like big names. So I was expecting a lot. If you're gonna see these big names in a movie, you're gonna be like, wow, this movie's gonna be good. There was a big budget to pay all these people. And so we continue. I wish the dialogue was more engrossing. I understood what happened, but it seemed like it took so long to have certain points come across. We have the detective, of course, the murder takes place, and then is questioning everyone on the train and seeing who the suspect could be. And it's like, for him to do this questioning, he's the world's greatest detective, and I guess you have to have some struggle in the film, right? That's part of it. But he didn't seem like the world's greatest detective. It was a paradox. It was like, Sherlock Holmes, you see his brilliance when he does things and when he discovers clues. You don't see anything like that here. This detective, quote unquote, is pretty much clueless throughout the whole thing.
My name is Hercule Poirot, and I'm probably the greatest detective in the world.
And then all of a sudden at the end, boop, he solves it. And you're like, what? So to me, that storytelling wasn't really engrossing. I wasn't intrigued by, whoa, these twists and turns. Yes, there's an ending twist, but that's it. And to be completely 100% honest, I didn't like it. I don't think that ending was realistic in the least. I would love to make a separate video just talking about that ending of my issues with it. I'm really passionate about not liking it. I don't think it's practical. I don't think it would ever happen in real life. I don't think it could ever be executed. Again, I know some people say this is a fantasy, but there's nothing sci-fi in the film. It's booked as a realistic type film. There's nothing supernatural about it. There's nothing which wouldn't say that, hey, this is like a historical piece. Of course, it didn't happen from what I know. But yeah, you wouldn't see this film and say, yeah, this is fairly realistic. I didn't like that ending. And so if you guys have seen it, let me know down below. Did you agree with the ending? Why or why not? I think that would be a great talking point. There was a few nice camera angles. There was a lot of nice sight and sounds of the train and shoveling the coal inside the what do you call it? The hot oven of the actual steam engine. And so forth, and like that was cool because you were being drawn in. But then when it came to the story, it fell flat for me. The whole questioning of the suspects and who did it, and then there was a bit of a surprise here. But I was like, really, like draw me in, and it just didn't do that. I don't know if it was the filmmakers or the novel itself, but people loved the novel. And I'm sure that the novel probably was more gripping the way it was written. I just think it was hard for it to come out on paper, but I do think they could have done a better job. Then it was fairly creative. There were some nice black and white scenes when they would go into the past and recall some things that happened then, but it's nothing new. There's nothing new in this film that shouts, whoa, you know, like this is creative, this is amazing. This left an impact in my mind. In fact, this movie went in one ear and out the other. It's going to be very forgettable. In fact, the only reason why I would watch it again is to say maybe I could give it a better score. Maybe I can empathize now that I know what's going on and understand it more. But I doubt it. I really have no interest in watching the film. So that's it, guys and gals. I don't have much to say about it. In summary, I love the visuals. I love the actors that were used. I don't think the script and the directing of how the film was portrayed did it justice for just the powerhouse cast that it had. I think the main character, the detective, could have had a better casting. Not that he was bad, but you have these big shots as quote-unquote suspects, and then all of a sudden the main detective isn't that much of a big shot. And so I don't know. It's just, like I said, it fell flat for me. I would give this film C-. Again, visuals are great. It's not something where I say go watch it for the visuals. No, it's not that great. It's nice maybe if you wanted to see a period piece because it's set in I believe the 1930s. That's at least where the film starts in the beginning, 1934. And that's great to see. And maybe you want to see the twist, but I just felt the execution was just not there. It's not something that I'd say, hey, watch this movie, because then I'd be embarrassed and they'd be like, really? You really wanted me to watch this? It wasn't as great as I thought. That's what I think someone would say if I recommend this, so that's what I'm going to tell you. If you happen to watch it, I don't think you're going to be as satisfied or as amazed as you think you will be. So thank you so much, guys and gals, for watching. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up if you enjoy this. And again, we could agree and disagree. That's not the important part. But just to give you my honest opinion, I'm not gaining anything from telling you that that's great or worse. I just want to give you my honest feedback, and hopefully it resonates with you, and maybe it interests you to watch the film, or maybe it interests you not to watch the film. But here are my thoughts. We'll see you next time, guys and gals, and don't forget, be hopeful.